Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm all decked out in my Halloween gear here for THORAZINE. It is Saturday, November the 23rd, 2019. It's 11:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just realized looking at the date there, it is one of my best friend's birthdays today. Not Bruce. Another guy by the name of Brian. Brian... Kind of sound like Goldblum again. Brian, yes, Brian Abork. He is, he's lives back in Ottawa, Canada, which is where I grew up, where I went to high school. I wasn't born there. I was born here in Toronto, but I went to high school in Ottawa, which is our nation's capital. It's like the Washington of Canada. And he's a couple years younger than me, so he'd be 38, 39, something like that. Anyway, pretty cool. So after I get off here, I have to make sure I send him a little message to say happy birthday. Frank Riker is here. Johan Hasdbaka, Thunderknock Studios. David is here. Maybe some more people will roll on in as the hour goes by. Frank Riker, Frank the Tank says, Dave, I expect that jacket we'll be seeing a lot of. Well, I wore it today for THORAZINE and my little hat because obviously it's, Halloween show, right? Yesterday I wore it because I was excited to wear it and show it off for you guys. And I might wear it tomorrow on Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. I might just because, it might be fun to show Tony. But I'm not going to wear it like every time I do a video or a show or something like that. But it's new and it's exciting. And but I also don't want to wear it. I don't want to wear it too often because I don't want to wear it out. Like this kind of thing here, I'm not so worried about this, but the back, like that right there, I don't want it to like start to crack and peel and things like that, right? So I want to be, kind of wear it sparingly. There was somebody, I made a post about this and I forget who it was, but somebody commented and said something like, oh, I got mine too, but it's ruined because I put it in the dryer. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why did you put it in the dryer? Like was it too big and you were trying to get it smaller or something? I mean, it's a nylon jacket. You don't want to put that in, with all this. Anyway, I just thought I was like, oh, that really sucks. That's too bad. I would never put this in the dryer. So anyway, yeah, it's cool. It's awesome. Fright Rags, by the way. And again, they're not like, sponsors of me or anything like that. I just thought the jacket was cool, so I bought it. And so if you want to get one for yourself, frightrags.com. Although I think they're out. Like, this is a medium, and it's actually, believe it or not, it feels good around the waist, but up here it's a bit bulky. Crazy as it sounds, I might have even been able to get away with a small, which is ridiculous because I'm usually a medium and everything. But nonetheless, I think they're all out, and I think they only have like 3XL available. That's quite large. So, yeah, but I'm sure they will get more in soon. Let me see here. Rick Michaels. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Rick. Frank says I would think the stitching and emblem would be better on the jacket. Yeah, it's just, it's all about cost, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about money. And if this was like, I mean, ideally it would be like embroidered on, like some sort of nice puffy sort of, it feels kind of like, like the old school, high school, college type jackets, right? Where like the 78 is nice and kind of almost a bit furry a little bit, right? And it kind of stands out, and the back would be like that too, and all really nice. But can you imagine doing that on a mass level? The cost that would cost would just be way too much. And unless you did like a limited run, which you could do a limited run of that. It would cost you quite a pretty penny up front, but you could probably sell it for like 200 something bucks, and somebody would buy it. I'd buy it, especially if it was that nice. But this is probably really easy for them to do because it's just plastic. Like there is a bit of a, like there is something there. It's not the jacket. There is a little bit of something there, but it's not like, yeah, it's not like a crest or something like that. Like that would be cool if it was an actual crest and the back was just like, it like stood out and stuff. But I would imagine that I would imagine if I take good care of it, maybe not, but I would imagine that over time, that'll probably start to crack and peel. I would think over time, right? If I'm wearing it every day, maybe, but I don't want to wear it every day. I've only worn it out once, and that was to go pick up my girlfriend the other day, just to show her because she thought it was kind of cool. And that was it. So I've just been wearing it kind of on here. So it's not a jacket that I'm going to wear out a lot, because I want to preserve it as much as I can. I would think stitching an emblem would be better on the jacket. Oh yeah, we were just talking about that. Yes, that's right. No, you're absolutely correct. So so I was away. I was away in Hollywood for about a week, which is why I wasn't here doing these videos. But I'm back now. And any news on the Halloween front? Not really. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis. This really isn't news, but it's kind of funny. Jamie Lee Curtis the other day, she was being interviewed on Real Blend, REEL, like the movie Real Blend, which is Cinema Blend's podcast. And she basically, I'm all worried now about it. She basically said that parents who show their kids Halloween or any of the Halloween movies, she's disgusted at. She can't believe it. And I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, whenever I go out to do something and a parent comes up and says, oh, little Bobby's a big fan of Halloween too, and little Bobby happens to be like, 5 years old, she can't believe it. And I would like to think that she was being sarcastic, that she's just verbally illustrating what she was thinking, because she said that she gives them the meanest JLC, what the fuck are you doing look. And for some reason, I can totally believe that she would give them that look. And in principle, I understand what she's saying. I mean, in principle, I get it. Like, I mean, yeah, there are certain things, especially today, that you would not want your 5, 6, 7-year-old watching. 100%. The original Halloween is one of the tamest. I mean, it was even tame by, 40 years ago standards, because it's all that theater of the mind. I get what she's saying, but I think my issue is that I hope she was being a little facetious, and that she basically was just saying that she, it's what she thinks. Because if she's doing a book tour, or if she's doing a tour where people are coming up to her, and she's literally giving these people the what the fuck are you doing, meanest JLC look ever, after they just happen to say that, my little son here is a big fan of Halloween too, I think that's wildly unprofessional. I mean, I get it. She's entitled to think it. She can think it all she wants. Like, in her head, she can be thinking, what the fuck? Oh, sure. But when you have people coming up to you and they're paying you for your book, or paying you for a photo, or whatever the case is, or even just coming up to say hi, don't do that. Don't do that. As much as you may want to do it, don't do that. Just smile and nod and go, oh, well, that's so... You don't have to... If you feel passionately about it, you don't have to, egg it on. So you don't have to engage in that, right? So if so-and-so says, little Bobby is a big fan too, and in your mind, you're thinking, why is little Bobby a fan? He's fucking 5 years old. And in your mind, you're thinking, what kind of fucking parent? You're allowed to think that, but then don't engage in it. Like, don't say, oh, that's so wonderful. And what's your favorite scene, Bobby? I mean, just don't do that. Just say, oh, well, that's really neat. So tell me, and then just engage with the parent, right? It's very easy to get out of uncomfortable, awkward things like that when you feel strongly about something, right? You can acknowledge the boy or the girl and just say, oh, that's great. And then immediately switch gears, right? And 9 times out of 10, the parent is just so excited to see you anyway. It's not like they're going to be like, how come you didn't ask little? No, they're just, they're in the moment, and be in control, be professional about it. And just, but I mean, I'm hoping that when she said that, she was just kind of being sarcastic, saying that that's what I think, and not what I'm actually doing, like, giving the parent like this look, like, what the fuck, But then my other thought is, hey, if it wasn't for our parents, now my parents have since passed, but as a 40-year-old man, if it wasn't for my parents, who, if they were alive today, would be close to 80, if it wasn't for them allowing me to watch these movies as a 5-6-year-old kid in the 80s, because it's us today. It's not the late baby boomers that are 80 that are going to see Jamie Lee, Curtis, and are going out to these films. I mean, that doesn't mean there aren't a few of them, but by and large, it's us. It's the 40-year-old men, right, that have the kids that are now introducing their kids to this, that are going out and making Halloween the most successful slasher movie of all time last year. It's us. And if we didn't watch those films as kids or 10-year-olds or 11 or whatever the case is, or 6 or 7, then it may not be in the pop culture in the ways that it is. So it's just, it's interesting. Nonetheless. Frank Riker said, Rick Michael says, how long did it take to get it? Because you were looking at it months ago. Yeah, no, I got mine. I got it. I ordered it I didn't order it months ago because I didn't get to it in time. They were sold out. So I was like, damn. Okay. Well, they'll probably get more, maybe. And then sure enough, because I follow Fright Rags on Instagram, I saw that they made a post saying, starting such and such a day, that we're going to have some available. So I ordered it in and around the same time I ordered the cards, the trading card set. And, but I ordered this, I think, on the 7th of November. Excuse me, somewhere around there. And then, of course, I went away to Hollywood on the 12th. So it hadn't arrived before then. But when I got home and I was checking the tracking online, I don't know if I don't know why it was like this. Usually tracking is updated pretty well. The tracking hadn't been updated since the 11th of November. And it was already like the 19th. And I'm thinking, is it coming or not? And then it says on the USPS site, it says that if your tracking is not updated after 2 weeks, then contact us with the tracking number and blah, blah, blah. So I was approaching that. Like it was like 12 or 13 days. And I was like, 12 or 13 days from not the last time it was updated, 12 or 13 days from the last time, from the time that you ordered it, that you placed the order. So since I placed the order on the 7th of November and it was like the 20th now and it hadn't been updated since the 11th, I was like, what's going on? And then I was out doing a voiceover session in Toronto the other day for Domino's Pizza. And then when I got back, there was a little slip on my door. I had missed the, delivery. And so I went and picked it up. Had to pay duty taxes, of course, which was a little annoying. I think it's just because of the cost of the jacket. There's a certain amount you're allowed to order that can get shipped to you. And depending on what it is and where it's coming from and how they ship it, 9 times out of 10, I find that I don't have to pay taxes. Like on all that stuff, like the masks and the nice little figures that people have sent me, I haven't had to pay taxes on that at all. But this, I had to pay $30 in taxes. I was like, so it actually cost me $30 more. But, that's what happens sometimes. So it actually only took me about 2 weeks, which is pretty good. A little long considering it's only coming from where's it coming from? Carolina or so, wherever they're based or something. Like it shouldn't take that long, but I think it was held up in customs for a bit. Let's see here. It really only should take about a week. But anyway, Frank Riker says, I'm jealous you held an actual original Halloween script. Was there anything different in the script that wasn't in the movie? Thought I saw Judith's first name was supposed to be Susan. Yes, I made a post about that. Yeah, so that was really cool. Like we were having dinner and we were talking about anything and everything, nothing Halloween. We were just talking about all sorts of stuff and then naturally it sort of organically turned to Halloween. And I said, I started to say, he started to talk about his dad and all that kind of stuff. And of course his, wife and son were there as well. And then I busted out the little trading card, because in the trading cards that Fright Rags released, there is a screen capture of when Mickey, of course, who plays Richie in the original film as the young boy, the boy that actually trips Tommy and causes him to smash his pumpkin. That wasn't Lonnie that did that. That was actually Richie. And then Richie runs off and bumps into Michael Myers, right? You know, we all know that scene. So anyway, there's a trading card of that shot. So I was like, oh, because I knew beforehand I was gonna have dinner with him and his family. So I said to my girlfriend, I was like, you know, I'm gonna bring this and give it to him, because he's probably completely unaware of it, because Mickey's not involved in the entertainment industry now. I think he's involved in insurance or something. I mean, he's always connected on some level, but it's not like he's pursuing it as a career like he was when he was younger in the 80s and getting, you know, bit parts and things like that. So he's still connected on some level, but nonetheless. So I said to, so I was like, I'm going to bring this and give it to him because I think it's kind of funny. So anyway, during this moment, I thought, well, now's a perfect time to do it. So I gave it to him, and he was like, this is amazing. And he's showing his wife and his son. He's like, how'd you get this? You know, where'd you get that? And I guess that prompted him. He excused himself from the table, and he went upstairs, and he was upstairs, and I didn't know what he was doing. I thought maybe he was just going to the bathroom or something. And then he came back down with a couple of things in his hand. And one of them was the book that his dad wrote, which I already have, but I have the hard cover copy, and he gave me a paperback, which was nice. And then, of course, that comic, which is back in, I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. If you look right in there, that's where I placed the comic. So he gave me that, which was very nice. And then he put down on the table an original Halloween shooting script, which a shooting script is different than a spec script. The spec script is usually the scripts that the actors have, right? Because they have all the dialogue, very minimal. I mean, there'll be some minor things that might refer to an angle or a shot or, you know, things like that. But by and large, it's more like reading a book than the shooting script would be. The shooting script has all like the camera angles and the dolly angles and how you're going to shoot a scene and things like that. And they have a bit of the dialogue there too, but it's more for the DP and the director. It's not really telling a story per se, you know, like the actors get. So that's what he had. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So he placed it down in front of me, close to my glass of wine, which I was completely shocked that he was going, because and it was red wine, so all it would have taken was, you know. But anyway, I made sure that I didn't do that. So, but I didn't have a lot of time because we were all engaged and having conversations, and it's not like I could excuse myself. As much as I wanted to excuse myself, take it, put it under my jacket, go out to the car and just sit there and read it, right? Obviously, I couldn't do that. So I flipped through it. I didn't look at it in any great detail because I just didn't have the time. But I flipped through it, looked at a few things, and it was really neat. It was a lot of fun to be able to see that. And yes, in the shooting script, it was Susan. Judith was referred to as Susan. Now that is by and large primarily because they just didn't know what her name was going to be, so they just put down Susan, you know, and it was subject to change, you know, and obviously it did, because in the spec script, the one that you download online, I believe her name is Judith. So you know, it's just a matter of how that came to be. I don't know. I didn't even think to ask him about that. And he may not even know anyway. But anyway, that was really cool. Yeah, to hold that in my hand. I mean, that is an original, not a copy, not something you download online. That is an original shooting script that was probably in the hands of Carpenter and, or at least Cundy for sure. So really, really cool. And no, obviously I couldn't take that home. That's probably worth a pretty penny. But I did take some photos of it, which obviously I showed you guys online. And then, yeah, the other thing was the reel. Was he busted out an original reel, like an original recording of the Halloween theme. An original recording of the Halloween theme. And that was really cool to see, to hold that in my hand. That was pretty awesome. So the entire night was great. And you know, he's invited me over again, you know, the next time we're down, and just a really nice family. And I'm so glad that I've got to know them, and you know, just really funny, you know, Italian Jewish family that is just hilarious. Like my type of humor, right? We're all sitting there talking over each other and yelling and laughing and all this. It just was fun. You know what I mean? Just a great evening. But yeah, really cool, Frank. I wish I could have taken them home. I wish I could have, but I think he did the right thing. Let's see here. Frank follows up with, what do you expect Carpenter will do with the soundtrack? You mean for Halloween Kills? I think he's just going to expand on it. I think he's going to expand on Halloween Kills and, on what he's already laid out and just take it sort of to the next level. And there's no doubt that he's probably going to be doing it with Cody and Daniel Davies again, I'm sure. Davis or Davies? I think it's Davies. Anyway, he'll probably do it with them again. And they'll probably just expand on what they've already done, or some of the things that they were working on and sort of, riffing with that didn't make it into the 2018 film. They might revisit it and go, well, you know what? That thing that we were doing that we really liked, but we just couldn't, put it. Let's go back to that and use that or a bit of that and then build that totally is probably a part of it as well. Of course, that's not all going to transpire until the movie is picture locked and they can actually see what they're playing to, because they have to see the vibe of the movie, the feel, the pacing, and then work accordingly. But I don't doubt that the soundtrack will probably be really good. I mean, Carpenter, again, he's working with his son, obviously, and his godson. I think it's his godson. But he knows the rhythm, no pun intended, of Halloween and how to sort of approach that. So Frank follows up with, did you speak to any other actors at the Voice Arts Awards? I did, yes. I was able to speak. I didn't get a chance to speak to Peter Cullen. I would have loved to have talked to him. Of course, he was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work in voiceover. Obviously, Peter Cullen is the voice of Optimus Prime and Eeyore, and I mean, he just has a long list of incredible voiceover credits. So he was there. I didn't realize how short he was. Now, I'm not that tall of a guy. I'm 5'8", right? 5'9" in boots, maybe. But he looked, I saw him there at the after party, and he looked shorter than me. So if somebody is able to confirm that he's like 5'6" or 5'7", I totally buy that. He's not like tiny like Danny DeVito, but he was just short because he's got such a, I am Optimus Prime. He's got such a, incredible voice, right? That you expect him to be larger than life, and he's not really, so it's kind of funny. But some people have said the same thing about me. Like when I got hired to do the movie trailer voice and I go in to work with a producer I haven't worked with before, I walk in and they're like, oh, it's you? We're expecting some big hulking voice of God guy, right? It's like, nah, it's me. So it's, looks can be deceiving, or voices can be deceiving, right? Had a chance to speak to Bob Bergen again. Bob Bergen, of course, is the voice of Porky Pig and Tweety and all that, and he's just a hoot. He's just a riot to talk to. So we were talking there's a new Looney Tunes show that's coming out very soon. So we were talking a bit about that, and then who else? It was just busy. It was a busy after party, and then of course, who else was there? I know that what's his name? He was there, but I think he left early. Ving Rhymes, is that his name? Vin Rhymes. I always get his name mixed up. He was honored with an Icon Award for his work in various things, games, cartoons, and things like that. Is that how you say it? Okay, yeah. I wanted to get a chance to talk to him. I didn't, unfortunately. And then, there was just, and then I was, of course, talking to fellow, VO actors whose names you probably wouldn't know, but voices you definitely would. But it was fun. I mean, it was another, it's disappointing that I didn't get the award, of course. But it is, like I said in my little live feed, somebody asked me what's the best thing about being at Warner Brothers. And I said, I think the best thing about being there is just being there. It's still surreal, like to show up at the gates and to walk in and to be on the back lot and to see all the sound stages and to go in and to know that you're there as a nominee and to see your name on the big screen there. I mean, it's that in and of itself really is. I tried. It's happening so fast, and you try to soak it in, as best as you can. And I was able to do it better this time than the last time I was there. But it's still surreal. And I think that is probably the best thing about it, I would say. But yeah, so what was I going to say now? There was something I was going to say about Halloween, because obviously this is a Halloween show. But I don't mind talking about other things too. But there was something specific I was going to say. Damn, I forget what it was now. What was it? Damn, it was something. When I was down, that's what it was. For those of you, there's only 7 of you watching, but maybe if you're watching after the fact, I sounded like I had the cadence of J.J. Abrams there. There's only, it was kind of a really cool thing that they did, but it was really what we wanted to do. J.J. Abrams talks like that. Yeah, the video on my channel where I drive from the Elm Street house to the Doyle house. If you haven't checked that out, I'm sure you guys have. But if you haven't checked it out, check it out, because I do it in real time. And if you've always, because you often hear how, the Doyle house is literally down the street from the Elm Street house. Well, I decided to do a real time video on it. So check it out if you haven't, because it doesn't. I get stopped at a stoplight for about 30 seconds, but that doesn't count. But they're really close, so that's really cool. And I didn't get a chance to see the Myers house this time, because I didn't get a chance to head over to Pasadena because I was just too busy. I mean, my week consisted of functions in regards to the Voice Arts Awards. Also, I knew we were going to Jeopardy. We also went to Kimmel. I knew we were doing that. And then, of course, I had dinner with the Yablons. And then I knew we had a coastal drive that we were going to do, because we wanted to drive up the coast for a bit and enjoy the scenery there. And then, of course, had the Voice Arts Awards. And so it was just and then, of course, I had the live casting I was doing with Cecil and Miko and everybody and the whole thing there for Dylan's new Ninghtmare. And then I was going out to dinner with them afterwards. It was just a really busy week. So usually I like to head over to Pasadena for at least half an hour to get my Myers house fill. But I just couldn't do it this time. So Dan Sky says, "Hey Dave, just curious, do you have any dream voice acting jobs?" More animation. In my career, my bread and butter has been, up to this point, has been primarily trailers, promos, and commercials. I have a very thick portfolio when it comes to that kind of stuff. But over the last couple years, because I love doing, characters and voices and building that, and I've always been really good at that. So I've wanted to get more into animation, and I am fortunate enough that I've been able to do some, but I want to build on that more. So my portfolio when it comes to, trailers, promos, and commercials is like really, really thick. When it comes to animation, it's a little down here. So I want to kind of build that up now, right? So I have a specific animation agent who gets me auditions and things like that. And you know what? I mean, here's the truth of the matter. I auditioned about 3 weeks ago for a new series, and I thought I nailed the audition, and I thought for sure I was going to get a callback. I never heard back. Right? And that doesn't mean that the audition was not good. It's never personal, right? They just have so many people that they could have been like, well, that Dave McRae was good, but Bob, there was just something in Bob that he just was able to just a bit. So they go with Bob. It could have been down to me and somebody else, right? You never get to know those details, but that's the reality. So I audition too, and there's lots of things that I don't get, right? It's a competitive business. But the point is that my animation agent is now specifically working with me to get me more animation work. And I guess I can sort of talk about this now because it makes me a little sad. I was doing a show about 1.5 years ago called Worry Eaters. And we had done the first season, and it was going to air on Nickelodeon, I believe. And the target demographic was like ages 5 to 7, kind of in there. And it was such a cute cartoon. And I played like 5 or 6 main characters. Unfortunately, the producers were from not unfortunately, they were from that didn't sound right. The producers were from Germany, and unfortunately, that's the right way around, they were not happy with the animation. Now, I thought the animation looked great, but for whatever reason, I don't know what they were expecting, Pixar or something? I mean, that's a whole different level of animation shit, right? Like, this is like, Anyway, so they were unhappy with it, and the voiceovers were fine. Like, me and the cast were perfectly fine, but it was a real big opportunity, and I was so excited about it. We recorded the first season, which was like 22 episodes, and then they just canceled it. Now, I still got paid, of course, but they canceled it. And I don't know what they're doing with it now. And that was like a year and a half or so ago. So I feel, sure, I got paid, but I'm an actor, I'm an artist, right? And I'm all about the work. I mean, the money's nice, sure, but I'm all about the work. And I feel sort of, I'm like, that sucks. Like, I wanted to be a part of this thing that was so, so it happens, man. It happens. These things happen. So, yes. So that more animation would be what I want to do. So I can have it, kind of build it up to where my promo trailer and commercial work is. Frank Riker says, it appears Michael is saved by a thunderstorm. After all that preparation by Lori, you would think that she might have thought of that, but I do think we'll see him bend bars or something stupid like that. Yeah, it's funny. I don't think that's a thunderstorm. Unless, like, Frank, are you referring to the shot with Michael on the porch and the water and everything? I think because that was a cropped vertical video that they like to do for social media. If you actually watch the horizontal video, you can... In that one shot, it's fast, but if you stop it, it actually is a fire hose. You can actually see the water being sprayed. Now, unless, which I doubt it, but it is possible because you are actually seeing a lot of the behind the scenes. Unless that's a hose from the crew putting water all over the porch, but it's not, it is a fire hose, but it's not supposed to be a fire hose in the movie. That's just off camera. That's possible. But that is possible, actually. Now that I think about it, I didn't think about that when I was talking about it a few weeks ago. Geez, I should have mentioned that. That's some really good insight there. But it's entirely possible that it also could be a fire hose. Right, we're back. Sorry about that. We hiccuped and we're back. So let me just say that again. It is entirely possible that actually in the movie, it could be an actual fire hose that is spraying, because we know that the firefighters are probably going to show up, right? So that's possible. But I didn't think about that. It could be just because we saw the fire hose in the shot doesn't necessarily mean that it's a fire hose in the movie, right? Because they were showing a lot of the behind the scenes and the cameras and all that kind of stuff. Interesting. I should talk about that. Frank Riker says, I know the studios were excited about H-18's box office receipts, but would you have announced 2 films without knowing how killed? I think they're just taking a risk on it. And I think it comes down to budget. I think they're confident that Halloween Kills is going to do well because obviously H-18 did well, and Halloween Kills is going to be the receipts are, they're going to sort of utilize the residual effects of that. So everybody's going to go out and see, is going to go out and see it. So, and I don't know what the budget is for Kills, but it's probably still less than 20 million. Obviously there would be raises all around. It might be more than 20 million, maybe 20. I'm not sure, but it wouldn't, like the first one was 10. It wouldn't surprise me if this one was maybe 15 to 17, maybe, or between 15 and 20. That wouldn't surprise me, but it's still low budget, and if Halloween Kills, statistically, sequels don't make as much. That doesn't mean no sequels don't make as much, but generally speaking. So let's see. Halloween 2018 made 250. If Halloween Kills can make, 180 to 200 or 160 to 180, like somewhere that, then they're still laughing. They're still laughing. Do you know what I mean? And then if Halloween Ends makes, 140 to 130 or 140, they're still laughing. Not as much, but they're still laughing. So it comes down, I don't think I would have, but I understand the business decision behind it because there's such low budget films and it was such a monumental success in relation to. I mean, the first movie cost $10 million to make. That's production budget. That's without marketing. Double that for marketing, put it maybe the total at 25, 30 million, maybe say 40 million tops, right? Because they did quite a bit of a marketing campaign for that. Well, it made $250 million worldwide on $40 million. So it made back its money and then some. So, I mean, yeah. But I agree with what you're saying, though. I agree with what you're saying. And I don't know if I would have greenlit 2. That does seem a little presumptuous. It does seem sort of a little, well, you guys just gonna eat this up, right? It does seem like that. I mean, there were a number of factors that made Halloween 2018, the nostalgia trend we're in, the fact that it was the first Halloween film released in October since Halloween 5. I mean, that's just insane. Jamie Lee Curtis was back. John Carpenter was back. They utilized Nick Castle being back, even though he wasn't, will it do the same box office receipts? I doubt it, but I think it'll do well. And, we'll see what it's like. But I get what you're saying, Frank. I do. Rick Michael says, but he had fireman's tool in his hand. Yes, that's what it looks like. 100%. Yep. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the water in the movie is also supposed to be from a fireman's hose. It could be, but not necessarily. The probability is that it's likely, but because that little teaser was showing us fast clips and they weren't part of the narrative. Some were, but they were also showing scenes, shots from behind the scenes where you saw the camera in the shot and things like that. That one little quick shot of Michael on the porch with the hose off, to the sides, to the side, spraying the porch. Now, when you watch that scene in the movie, could that be? In the actual narrative, it is supposed to be a fireman's hose that was left on spraying yes, 100%. But because of the type of teaser it was, it's possible that that fireman's hose that we saw in the horizontal view could also be just a fireman's hose off to the side spraying the water onto the roof because there's supposed to be a storm or it's supposed to be raining. That's possible too. Because of the type of teaser it was. If every single snippet you saw in the teaser was supposed to be subjective in the narrative and you didn't see the camera or David Gordon Green going action and all that kind of stuff, it was just a legitimate subjective teaser where it was part of the narrative, then I would say that's a fireman's hose. 100%. Like actually in the movie, it's supposed to be a fireman's hose. But because we saw many clips that were not like that, we saw objective points of view, I think it's possible that it could just be part of the set. Like they were, okay, we're going to spray the water on here because in the movie it's supposed to be raining. That's entirely possible. But I think it's more likely that it is a fireman's hose actually in the film. But Frank Riker says, I think Michael escapes through a mine shaft under Laurie's house. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think what is more concerning for me is more not that he is not how. I don't care how he escapes. I do not care how he escapes, and I don't care whether they show. I mean, I care. I care if they show too much, but I couldn't care less if they show it, or I couldn't care less if they don't show it. I don't care because I don't think you need to A, know how he escapes, and certainly B, see it. You don't. He's the boogeyman. He just did. How? I don't know. As long as the characters in the movie are just as dumbfounded. However, I am a little perplexed unless they're going to utilize some CGI. I'm a little perplexed that it appears now that there doesn't seem to be any or very much residual effects from the fire. Now, I'm not saying that you go full on what some fans have done and you melt half his mask and you see half his face and it looks cool. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to do that. But you would think that there would be some level of residual effects. A little bit of burned up here, maybe a bit of the mask, kind of melted a bit here. Like, again, I mean, you don't have to go like to the extreme. And maybe there is. I mean, again, we're seeing very fast shots. Maybe there is. But in those fast shots, there does not appear to be, much damage. So if the choice were up to me, Dave, you either show how he escaped or you let people know how he escaped, or you show some residual effects of the fire. I would, no question, say we show residual effects of the fire. That is more important because it lets you know that he's human, he's susceptible to the elements, right? And yet he survived. How? We don't know. And that's why it's unnecessary. So that would be my approach to that. Let me just see here. I didn't miss anything, did I? I don't think I did. Hey, ThunderKnock Studios is here. I think I said hi. Let's see. David says, Dave, if you don't mind me asking about the Nightmare on Elm Street news for a second. No, not at all, man. At the end of the day, which do you think is more likely, a movie or the HBO Max series? Which do you prefer? I think what's more likely is probably a movie. But like I said in my video yesterday that I uploaded talking about this, if you had asked me 10 years ago, do you want an Elm Street series? I probably would have said no, because instantly you think of Freddy's Nightmares, right? Which wasn't really about Freddy. It was like an anthology thing about different creepy shit that happened, and Freddy was the host and he would appear in some things. But and because we weren't really in the era of streaming, now in 2019, with the success of long-form television format, and with the success of Stranger Things and that German show, which I absolutely love, even though I don't understand some of it, but it's really cerebral and intense. And I understand most of it, but there's some things where I'm like, woo, I got to look that up. Dark, right? That show Dark is just amazing. But with the success of these not everything is, a success, but in the streaming TV format, you're able to really build and develop more. And you're able to flesh out characters and mythology and lore and all that kind of stuff. So I think that, and because Freddy Krueger, like I mentioned in my video, the foundation of Freddy isn't reliant on him remaining ambiguous. It isn't reliant on him remaining an enigma, unlike Michael Myers, right? You have to keep the fundamental foundation of who Michael is, what Michael is, why he's doing, what he's doing, has to remain a mystery. It has to, because he's built around that. Freddy, you don't want to divulge everything about Freddy. He still has to have an aura of mystery about him, but you can talk about his backstory and talk about how he was a child murderer and talk about how he was burned in a boiler room. You can open up to his backstory, and it just adds to the lore and mythology of Freddy. And I think if you were to approach that from a TV series, there's potential there. I think the vast majority of fans would be against it at first because Freddy has always lived on the big screen, and there's still this psychological disconnect that for something to be official, it's got to be on the big screen. That's where it's official. It means it's real then. And it's like, well, yes, there is that. Yes, to some degree years ago, that may be true. But because of Netflix and, Disney Plus and Hulu and Amazon Prime and soon to be HBO Max and, NBC's Peacock. Yeah, that's right. They're launching one called Peacock. Because obviously the logo for NBC is a peacock, but I'm just like, that's a terrible name. I would never. Anyway, somebody should be fired. But because of all this and the competition, streaming is, and utilizing that medium on the small screen is actually gaining more respect. and gaining more like, wow, right? Because now you can watch it everywhere. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch on your tablet, your computer, your television. It's with you wherever you go. You can be out. You could be waiting for a bus and catch a whole fucking episode of, you know, Elm Street. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's what it is now. So it's not like it was 20 or 30 years ago. And even then, I mean, you know, TV was a big thing, but I just mean that I think for an Elm Street series to live in TV, I'd be okay with it. As long as it's done right, I'd be okay with it. I think there's a lot of untapped potential there, but I think they're going to go with the feature film because it's just, you know, it's Freddy, you know, and I think you can make more money that way in a big lump sum. So, but we'll see what happens. Oh, did I miss your comment, Dan? My apologies. You missed my last comment, but feel you've already spoken on the subject. Okay, I feel Michael escapes through the hole in the ceiling that Laurie shoots earlier in the movie when she shoots Michael. Did I miss your comment? Sorry, buddy. Where is it here, Dan? Let me see here. Dan, Sky. Okay, I got the acting jobs. Could be fire hose. I feel Michael will escape through. Oh, I see. Yes. The weapon from Laurie's count. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Dan. I think that what is likely going to happen, and others have speculated on this as well, I think what is likely is that Michael will, the fireman will enter the house thinking that Laurie is in there, because I think that because Laurie left before the firemen got there, before the firefighters, you know, arrived. So I think they're going to go in there thinking that they're trying to save somebody. They may find a body thinking, oh my God, it's Laurie or whatever. And it turns out to be Michael. He wrecks shop, tears the fucking, you know, which might be an awesome scene, and then takes the fireman's tool, walks out, you know, is there on the porch, stands on the porch with the fireman's tool in hand, and it's like, dun-dun, you know what I mean? That's what I think is likely going to happen. Yeah, I totally agree. Dan Sky says, I agree with the point you made that we don't need to know how he escaped. I agree. No, we don't. As long as the characters in the movie, like as long as Laurie and Allison and Karen are perplexed by it because they were so certain that the trap was going to work and that Laurie had spent all those years, you know, preparing and prepping, as long as they appear like, what? Like, how the fuck? You know, because we need to see that. We need to see that they are dumbfounded. They're like, what the hell, right? Laurie might be like, I knew this would happen. Maybe she pulls a Loomis, right? Because of where she is now. And maybe although she had been preparing for a long time, maybe she, you know, she's a little like, I knew it, you know? Whereas Allison and Karen, because they're new to the party and new to this Michael Myers experience, maybe they're a little more perplexed. Like somebody's got to show what the fuck, right? But you don't need to know how he escaped. You don't need to show how he escaped. The visuals of Michael killing a bunch of firefighters amongst a fire is a cool visual. Yes, it is. But is it necessary to show that? No, it's not. But I have a feeling that they will lean towards showing it because it's just cool. And fans are going to eat that up. Oh, that's so awesome. That looks so cool, right? But it's unnecessary. Yeah, I agree. Dan Sky follows up with Elm Street HBO Max series in 2021 after Dylan's New Nightmare comes out and Dave McRae casts as Freddy. Now that's promising Freddy series. Oh, that'd be amazing, buddy. That would be amazing. I think Dylan's New Nightmare. See, the thing with Dylan's New Nightmare is that it's a direct sequel to New Nightmare, and New Nightmare is an acquired taste, right? Because it's the more cerebral, meta sort of film. I don't think they will do anything with New Nightmare. I think it was a one-shot deal, but I do think there's a lot of untapped potential there. And as Dylan's New Nightmare as it is, I think it would make a good series because of what I know. There's a lot of shit you could do with that. But I think a lot of Elm Street fans would feel gypped because technically it's not really Freddy. It's the entity that has manifested himself as Freddy. Like that's what it is, you know. So even though it is Freddy, but you know, if you want to get technical, and I just don't think they're going to go that way. But I am down. I am down. If anybody ever came calling for me to play Freddy in an official way, I would totally not turn that down. Michael Martinez says, good morning, everyone. Great jacket, Dave. Thank you very much, Michael. Yeah, I love it. It's really cool. And it's actually a lot warmer than I thought it was going to be. I mean, granted, I'm wearing a hoodie, but it's actually a lot warmer than I thought it was going to be. I don't think I could wear this out in the middle of, in the dead of winter. But certainly right now, I mean, what's the temperature today? The temperature, so I can wear a hoodie underneath this with this jacket. The temperature today is, it is 4 degrees Celsius. That's 4 degrees Celsius to my American friends. What is that in Fahrenheit? So you guys know. 4 degrees Celsius is 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a little chilly out there. But with this hoodie on and this jacket, I actually could wear it out. Now, when it actually begins to snow and it gets down to like, minus 15 degrees Celsius, no, not so much. I gotta pop on the winter jacket for that. But for what it is right now, it's actually not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let me see here. Go back, see if anybody missed anything, or see if I missed anything. I don't think so. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, I see you guys talking about that. Yeah. The weather, that's right. So yeah, and then somebody asked me the other day, when do I think we'll see a trailer for Halloween Kills? I think that, you're probably not going to see a trailer till next spring. That's likely when you'll see it. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be completely silent between now and next May or June. I think you're definitely going to get, tidbits of information. You'll get, some stills, you'll get some from behind the scenes stuff, some new information about plot will probably come out, and maybe even a cast member that you were unaware of, or, like that stuff is still going to happen. But in terms of, and the poster as well will probably be out before the trailer in the spring. But in terms of a trailer, yeah, I think you're looking at probably May or June. That would be my guess. Anyway, that's my guess. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm, like I've said many times, I'm cautiously optimistic in what they're going to do with this. And some people have said, well, you didn't really like, the 2018 film. Why are you talking about this, this movie? Like, why do you continue to talk about Halloween? It's like, well, because I'm a Halloween fan. Because even, in the movies I don't like, I love the property. I love the character. I want movies to do well. See, I'm not like those who want The Rise of Skywalker to fail. I don't want it to fail. That doesn't mean I'm going to like it, but I'm pulling for it. I want it to be good. I don't want it to fail. That doesn't do anybody, it doesn't do anything. Why would I want it to fail? Out of spite? That's just not me. That's not how I roll. So as much as I was disappointed by a lot of things with the 2018 film, I am pulling for this movie to be really, to be a movie that I can really enjoy. I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this movie more than I did the 2018 film, because the expectations are all out the window now. And I know that some people have said, well, you can't go into a movie with expectations. Well, that's true to a point. But like you've heard me say ad nauseum, when you're making a sequel to this movie, there are certain things that should have been there. And that's not fanboy expectations. That's like when you say that you're doing a sequel to this movie, like you've heard me say, this movie has a very specific ingredient and style that should have been carried over. And for the most part, it wasn't. So now it's kind of like, well, okay. So now they're no longer making a sequel to, let me do it again, this movie. They're making a sequel to that movie. So now I kind of know what to expect. I'm expecting a sequel to that movie. So I will probably be able to settle in and, ironically enough, enjoy myself a bit more, because I know I'm just watching a sequel to David Gordon Green's previous movie. And I can just enjoy it for what it is, not what it really should have been, in my opinion. And in that sense, I probably will enjoy it more. I have a feeling. Let me see here. And again, I didn't hate the 2018 film. I didn't hate it at all. I didn't hate it. I just think that it's a very good modern day slasher movie, but it's not a very good Halloween movie. That's my general consensus. Frank Riker says, will they release the deleted ending of H-18 in the box set of the 3 movies? I would like to see Michael acknowledging his wounds like in the book. Jeez. Well, probably not, but you never say never. I mean, anything to make money. I mean, let's not forget, this is an industry that releases the exact same movie. Exact same movie with the exact same features, just with different cover art. We live in a world where studios will release the exact same movie with the exact same features, but with different cool, cover art, and you'll go out and buy it because people do. I do. I've done it. I try to not do that anymore. I was just recently in where was I? In Amoeba in Hollywood, and I saw I think it was for It. It was for It Chapter 1, and it was this really cool cover, and I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And then I take it out of the sleeve, and it's the exact same cover that I currently have at home. So it was just the sleeve that was different. And I'm like, and all the features were the same, all that, like, it's the, why am I, but it's this cool little thing that shines. And if you, it's like, I mean, so you never say never. If Blumhouse thinks that they can make an extra however much by releasing some extra deleted shit that never before seen, you've wanted to see it, they'll do it. I mean, but maybe not, right? I mean, who knows? It all depends on whether they think they can make money and whether they obviously, want to do that, of course. Let's see here. Rick Michael says, me too, Dave. I want it to be good, especially Rise of Skywalker. I do too. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not one of those people that call themselves the fandom menace and do nothing but spread lies online, especially about the recent, rumors about the tests and, the screen. It's just nonsense. It's just, don't believe any of that garbage, because that's not how it works. But these people that have no idea of how the industry actually works can get online and do that and cite sources without any, and it's laughable. And their agenda is to bring down Disney. They don't want Disney have it. So they want the Rise of Skywalker to fail. They want it to fail. Why? I want the you may not have confidence. That's fair. You may think, nah, it's probably not going to be good. That's fair. But wanting it to fail so you can go, ha ha ha, fuckers. What is that? Like, I don't deal with that shit. I don't have time for that shit. It's just nonsense to me. I loathe The Last Jedi. I hated what they did with that movie. But I want The Rise of Skywalker to succeed. Rian Johnson could be directing Episode 9, and I would be pulling for him. I'd be going, come on, man, like, come on, I may have no confidence, but I would, I want it to succeed. I want Halloween Kills to succeed. I want it to be really good. I want to go in there and go, wow, that was amazing. That was a great Halloween movie. I want it to succeed. I always want movies to succeed because making movies is extremely difficult. And it's very easy for people behind their, keyboards who work at, not that there's anything wrong with this. I'm just citing the reality of the, perspective. It's very easy for somebody who doesn't know how it works, who works a job, a 9-to-5 job at Home Depot or is an insurance person or a car salesman or wherever. It's very easy for them to come behind a keyboard and go because they have absolutely no idea how it works and how this, how difficult these things are. And that's why I'm like, I will cite what I don't like about it. I will say I don't agree with that. I think that's dog shit. I think that, and I can get vocal about it. But at the end of the day, I'm never wanting the next installment to be bad. I want these movies to succeed because I'm a fan. And I want to walk away from Halloween Kills going, that was really good. Don't we all want that? Do you know what I mean? I mean, really, at the end of the day, don't we want The Rise of Skywalker to be good? Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean you think it's going to be, but don't we want it to be? You know, and then somebody might be like, well, yeah, of course I want. Well, yeah, that's it. We want it to be good. We want to walk away going, yes, JJ did it. You know, now there's only so much he can do because of the shit show of TLJ. It's not like it's going to be, oh my God. And if it is, oh my God, well, that's just icing on the cake. But I want Halloween Kills to be good. Where are we? A minute and 1 second here. We'll go for a few more minutes. So I agree. Let me see here. Frank Riker says, I can hear Darth Vader 35th anniversary rant coming. Michael Martinez says, hey, Dave, I have new Fallen Jedi video game. It's awesome. If you have Xbox or PS4, it's worth buying. I don't have Xbox, but I do have PS4. I'm a Sony guy. Well, not really. I had the Xbox One for a bit. No, not the Xbox One. The Xbox 360 I had. But I switched back to PS. I switched back to PlayStation because when I bought the Xbox 360 years ago, like 10 years ago, I had to buy like 4 of them because they kept conking out of me and getting that red ring, you know, and I was like, what the fuck, man, right? I've never bought any other than one PlayStation. So, you know, but anyway, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, no, they're the same, you know, essentially the graphics are essentially the same. So it's, you know, whatever, right? But I have not. So I will look into that. Pretty cool. So yeah, okay, well, that's going to do it for me here on this episode of THORAZINE. Pretty quiet on the Halloween front. And whenever it's kind of like, we're going to continue, you know, to do these, but whenever it's sort of quiet on the Halloween news front, you know, don't be afraid to ask me something that's, you know, un-Halloween related. Of course, we can do that too. And because sometimes, you know, when we do these shows, it's like, well, it's kind of quiet right now, right? But I want to do these shows because we can talk about Halloween if we want to as well. So that's why I do them. Thank you so much for your continued support each and every month. I really appreciate it. Awesome stuff. Now, I'm supposed to be having a Patreon only live AMA next Wednesday, but I understand that next Thursday is the American Thanksgiving. So I will monitor some things and see, and maybe I'll put out a post via my community section or just on Patreon and get sort of people's sort of input on whether or not they think they will be able to make a Patreon only live AMA next Wednesday, because some people might be traveling and, you know, all that kind of stuff, because I know that the Thanksgiving holiday in the US is even bigger than Christmas. So let me say that again. I froze there a little bit. I know that the American Thanksgiving in the US is even bigger than Christmas. Here, it's the other way around. But nonetheless, so I'll put out a post asking if people are going to be around, and we'll see how that goes. And then, of course, next Saturday night will be Saturday movie night. So make sure I think it's next Saturday, right? That's the last Saturday in November? Yeah. So make sure you tune in for that. And I will put up the voting probably tomorrow or Monday. All right, that's going to do it for me. You guys rock. Love you guys. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you guys soon. All righty. Cheers.